Hi everyone, it's Helen here from Bodywork-Pilates, and I just want to run through a little core activation activity that we've been working on in class lately. There's loads of modifications, so I'm going to give you several options until you feel that you might be ready to do the full exercise. I would, as always, caution you to work appropriately to the level that suits you and build up to it. Don't just dive straight into the heaviest exercise if that's not going to work for you. Okay, so we need to take ourselves down to the mat. Now, as we set ourselves up, and the setup of the position is equally as important as the actual activity itself. So never rush into your movement. No prizes for doing more. You want to be open across the chest and the upper back, widen those shoulders, let the arms come down at the side of the body. So the arms rest at length at the side of the body. We've got the pelvis level, so we feel that we're fairly evenly placed through the sides. The back of the pelvis connects with the hip bones up to the ceiling. We've pressed our pubic bone slightly forward. We've not dived it down, but we've just pressed it forward to open up the spaces between our bony landmarks and to create the natural soft curve of the low back, whatever that might be for you. The feet and the knees are hip distance apart in line with the hip bones. So from the crown of the head, right down through the torso, to the balance at the back of the pelvis, and then the connection through the feet, we feel evenly placed. Now, simply by pressing that pubic bone forward, you may well feel a slight tightening, a natural engagement of those deeper abdominal muscles. If you feel you need to, you can also apply that slight external corset. The breathing, of course, is as normal, in through the nose, out through the nose of the mouth, and the breath moves into the springiness of the ribs. So we don't want to feel that we're breathing the belly up and down. So, first level, just to simply activate. So without shifting the pelvis, we're going to take ourselves to a half tabletop position where we just bring one knee above the hip. So I brought my right knee above my right hip. I'm going to take my right hand and place it against the lower thigh knee. Keeping my shoulder drawing down and of course working with a smooth and even breath, I'm going to breathe out as I press my arm to my knee and at the same time my knee to my hand. And then I'm going to breathe in as I release that tension. So as I breathe out, I'm creating this connection, pressing forward and pulling back without disturbing the position of my spine. So my pubic bone continues to press forward, my lower back remains in its natural curve. I'm going to feel a little bit of stability around my shoulder. Remember, the shoulder is part of the core. So as you breathe out, just bracing arm to leg, leg to arm, and then breathing in to release. Okay, so that would be the first portion of the activation. See how you get on with that. You might want to just try that on both sides initially. So again, keeping that sense of pressing forward, softening those ribs. Right arm now is at length. I'm going to press as I breathe out. My left hand to my left leg and my left leg to my left hand, and then release. I'm noticing that I'm not tensing around my shoulders, certainly on my right side, or into the jaw or the base of the skull. But I am feeling as I do this that I really get a deep connection happening just from this activity. I'm not having to apply it consciously, it's happening all on its own. Okay, and then release. So that might be where you want to start from. Okay. So from here, and I'll actually do it on the other side so you can see what happens on the right now. So I'm going to go back to that core activation. I'm going to take my left knee above my left hip again, my left hand against the thigh. Now from here, as I do that activation, I'm also going to let my right arm move back. So as I breathe out, I'm activating through that left side and I'm just reaching back on that right. As I take my right arm back, I'm still keeping my ribs down. So I'm using all of the principles I would use ordinarily. And then back to center. And then I would do that again on the other side. So again, right hand to right knee, creating that activation on the right side. But as I do that, I'm just lengthening my left arm back. Okay, so throughout all of that, I've not changed the spinal position. I've not lost any of the connection. In fact, I've gained that connection that wraps around the body like that thick corset. I've kept my shoulders as released as possible, certainly on the non-activation side, although there will be some tension on the activation side. I've kept my breath smooth. You know, I've definitely not held my breath. Okay, so there's a couple of options to start off with. Your next option might be to slide away. Now, generally when I do a backstroke movement, which is this arm and opposite leg, I generally guide my clients to keep their heel from the floor. Just because we want to hold that little bit of weight to challenge the stability of the pelvis. But I would say on this one, just make sure you've got the ability to slide away. But this time, as we take the arm back, we're going to slide the same leg forward. So we're not actually holding all of the weight from that leg. A little bit, but not a lot, and slide away. Okay, so that's going to be our next option. So we're going to go left knee above left hip, left hand. I can already feel that I've slightly engaged, and as I brace on this side, I'm going to slide away, same arm, same leg, on the right. Okay, so we'll do that on the other side, so maintaining that stillness through the pelvis. Right knee above right hip, right hand, that's my activation side. I'm going to keep my left heel down, but as I activate on my right, I'm going to slide my left heel, left arm away, and then back to center. I have to say, to pull in on one side and to extend out on the other can sometimes take a little bit of mind coordination. You can begin to forget exactly which way's up on this. Okay, so there's 3 little options there. I'm going to give you 2 more, all right? So you should have plenty to work with if you need to build up to this. So this is where it gets slightly heavier. We stabilize. We make sure that we're strong enough to go into tabletop position. So we float first to one knee, and then knowing that we're not going to be moved around, we float the second leg. Now, all I'm going to do is place left hand to left knee. And I'm simply going to go back to that activation that we did before. I'm not doing anything on my right side at this point. But I have added the weight of my second leg. And of course I would do that on the other side as well. So I would just draw my shoulder down, pressing the arm to the knee, stabilizing my pelvis, bringing knee to hand as I breathe out. And I'm only doing about 3 on each side here, but you know, having run through them all, it's enough. And then bring it back to center. So our next modification is going to be the full modification. You could, of course, just do that and take one arm back, as we did when the one foot was to the floor, but we're going to skip straight through now. So left arm against left leg. And as I activate on my left side, I'm going to extend on my right. So I'm drawing through on my left side, I'm extending away on my right, I'm softening into my ribs, I'm stabilizing my low back. I'm going to change sides, I'm going to activate on my right side, I'm going to extend on my left side. And then having done all of that, I'm going to draw my knees in. I'm going to have a delicious little hug. So that's an exercise we've started working on in classes recently. Lots of modifications there, so as I say, do work appropriately. If you need any advice on any of that, then just give me a shout. But see how you get on. It's a sneaky little exercise. I hope you like it.